There is something comforting about ordinary streets. They are built to reassure us, neatly trimmed hedges, familiar mailboxes, children's bicycles tipped gently on their sides. Ordinary streets tell us nothing terrible happens here, and yet history repeatedly disagrees. This house once stood like any other. White siding, a small yard, a door that opened and closed without spectacle. Inside that house, death accumulated. Not dramatically, not explosively, quietly. Tonight we begin not with the killer, we begin with a question. How does horror live in plain sight without anyone truly seeing it? The quiet house. In the mid-1990s, this neighborhood did what neighborhoods do. People left for work. They returned at dusk. They waved. Routine is powerful. It persuades us that repetition equals safety. And on this street lived a man who depended on that persuasion. He was not flamboyant. He did not boast. He did not stand on corners attracting attention. He blended, which is often more dangerous because blending requires cooperation. And communities unintentionally cooperate with what feels familiar. When authorities finally entered the house, they did not expect to uncover a pattern. They expected, perhaps, disorder, perhaps neglect. What they encountered instead was evidence that time had been allowed to pass unchecked. Multiple lives lost, stored, hidden not in forests or remote basements miles away, but inside a family home. The shock that followed was not only horror, it was disbelief. How could something so sustained exist without interruption? The answer is uncomfortable. It did not exist without interruption. There were signs before the headlines, before the courtroom, before the word serial attached itself to a name. There was a boy, a child who struggled academically, a young man who withdrew socially, someone who failed publicly and retreated privately. He lived at home, worked a steady job, attended church. Nothing about that resume alarms a neighborhood, but alienation does not announce itself. Resentment does not request intervention. And invisibility, when internalized, can become something corrosive. He was not feared, he was underestimated. That difference matters. At the same time, women in the city were disappearing. Not celebrities, not executives, not individuals whose absence halted the machinery of commerce. Women on the margins, women struggling. Women navigating addiction, poverty, instability. Their disappearances were documented. But documentation is not the same as urgency. When society ranks whose absence matters most, some names sink faster than others, and predators understand hierarchy. They sense where scrutiny is weakest. They operate where the alarm is quietest. Neighbors notice something. An odor, strong enough to provoke complaint. Calls were made. Explanations were offered. Plumbing issues, garbage. Animals, authorities responded. But response is not the same as insistence. No warrant was issued, no forced entry demanded. The house remained intact, and time continued. Time is the most underestimated accomplice in serial crime. It stretches, it protects, it allows repetition. We often attribute prolific offenders to cunning genius, but repetition does not always require brilliance. It requires opportunity. It requires vulnerability. And most critically, it requires the absence of interruption. Law enforcement operates within thresholds. Evidence standards, jurisdictional constraints, resource allocation. These systems are designed to protect civil liberties. But when applied unevenly, when urgency depends on who is missing, those same systems can become barriers. The question is not simply, how did he do this? The deeper question is, why was he allowed to continue?
Sorry, how you doing? Okay. Oh, I tell him I gotta go because there's money right there. I gotta go. I'll see you guys. See you later. That's how she was. Real quick. You have to talk quick with her. Okay. Just say hi. How you doing? And be careful. Yeah.
Mary Healy Giacone. What is the first memory that comes to mind when you think about her?
How she rushed. How she used to rush around like a little ant. Constantly rushing. She'll stop and talk to you, but she ain't got too much time to spend with you. How you doing? Okay, hold on, I gotta go. But she was a good woman too. She was a real good woman.
What do you remember about the last time you seen her?
Zooming up and down the street.
What street particularly? Do you remember the
Poughkeepsie
street?
Main Street. Always, right there on Main Street.
By where? Because some of the stores are probably not there no more.
Who?
I said some of the stores are probably not there, so what stores
where the
were?
Imperial Bar used to be, and Jackson's used to be. She was always by there. Up further, where Tony's store was, on Persian Avenue and Main Street. She was always in that area. Or she'll go a little further up sometimes.
Did anything feel unusual about, the last time you seen her, or just around that time?
1 minute she's there, the next minute she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, what's her name? Mary. Just 1 minute they're here, and next minute they're gone. And I'm telling you, it used to be a lot of girls out there. Like I said, a lot. And then all of a sudden it's like, you see maybe 4, but then 2. And I can understand how nobody realized the women was disappearing. That's too many people to disappear for nobody to notice.
How did you find out she was missing?
A newspaper.
Newspaper too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The majority of everybody found out by newspaper about time.
Yeah, because the parents was complaining.
Mm-hmm.
And it was going down to...
Oh, so I don't want to get to, too personal. How old were these girls around that time? The ages? It varied. I wasn't really sure. I'm not really Were you
sure.
older than a lot of them? Younger?
Oh, yeah.
Same age?
Older than some of them. And younger than some of them. Yeah.
What does justice mean to you now that you've seen how things was handled with them?
Well, I'm glad this justice was done. And they finally got who they were supposed to get. They didn't blame anybody that didn't have anything to do with it. You understand what I'm saying?
What would you want the world to remember about her?
They were good people. Even though they did what they did, that, like I said, that was their business. That's their problem. They did what they had to do, and get themselves together. But I didn't see nothing bad in any of them. I always told them all, the girls, just be careful.
If you could speak to her now, what would you say?
Who? Which one?
Giacconi. Mary Healy Giacconi.
I'm sorry what happened to you.